And welcome back once again to the PCS Spring Split 2022. I am, of course, Pyrotechnics. He is Nightstar, and as we are halfway through the day now, we get into the match that a lot of people have been looking forward to. Of course, it is going to be PSG Talon taking on the likes of Hurricane Gaming. Before we start things off, though, let's take a brief moment and thank our wonderful sponsors, CTBC Bank and Caliber. Thank you for making the PCS possible. Now, Nightstar, PSG, they're looking to bounce back. They had a tough loss against their rivals Beyond Gaming, but Hurricane, well, they're a little bit softer, a bit more like a light breeze so far.
Certainly not as powerful as a Hurricane coming out the gates and looking a lot like their former Alpha selves. A bit of a same old. So if you're an Alpha fan or now a Hurricane Gaming fan, my condolences, because it looks like it's going to be a bit of a long split for you. But, you know, Bang 2 did look quite good. So I'm hoping he's able to perform once more, and if Unified and Kaiwing show some of those flaws that they did yesterday as well, I suppose anything could happen.
It's possible. You know, we'll get into it. We'll get into the upside such that it is. But this PSG Talon team definitely has a few things to work out, a few kinks to figure out in the new machine. Because Hanabi, of course, Unified and Kaiwing, the core of this roster is still intact. But the mid lane and jungle have been swapped. For those of you who hadn't been tuning in to the news, Juhan and Bei, picked up from NS Challengers over in Korea, have been working with the team since mid-December or so. But they didn't really have a huge impact in their first day of play. We saw, you know, the Lee Sin Rise come in. They kind of stuck close together, didn't really do a whole lot. And yeah, some strange decision-making and positioning from the bottom lane. Unified and Kaiwing getting caught out a lot. And Hanabi really never had a chance to have an impact, as he was just getting shoved in by the Tryndamere.
And coming into this split, knowing that Juhan and Bei were coming over from Korea, I actually took a chance to talk to Chronicler over at LCK. It's like, just because he also, of course, not only casts LCK, but he also watches a fair bit of the challenger scene as well. So his assessment was Bei relatively low in the fact he's more of the supportive style mid laner. We saw that, being able to just group around Juhan a lot. So for PSG, it's about adapting and learning new style and really making Juhan the main carry, almost like a Kongrye sort of compositions here. But now we're going to take a look over at Hurricane Gaming, formerly Alpha. And Alia, well, he's the only familiar face coming back into the roster. Yeah. But I'd like for him to, you know, stabilize. You know, because we know him from Alpha as the biggest coin flipper.
Yeah, he was the mid laner last split and under the name Zhaotu. And yeah, his Hecarim left a lot to be desired. I mean, he set up some plays. The problem is they were not good. Yeah, if there's upside on this team, I think it comes in the top lane and in the bottom lane. As you mentioned, Bang 2 had a pretty solid Ezreal game and did keep Meta Falcon team on their toes for a good chunk of the game. ICU, you know, also, that stands for Aurelia Carry You, as he's known as well in the solo queue ladder, did have a pretty decent start to the game as Jace. I liked what I saw out of the damage. The problem was the rest of the team, you know, you could really feel how heavy it was getting. Like, Cha-Cha didn't really have a lot going for him, and how his karma wasn't looking all that great. And yeah, Olio, the less we talk about that Hecarim, I think the better. I want to see them go back to the drawing board, get a little bit more team cohesion, because until they do, this is just Alpha 2.0, right?
Absolutely. I think most of our watchers or casters probably have Hurricane Gaming either the 9th or 10th place team. So you'd like to see some of these newer, fresh faces be able to rise up to the challenge. This is going to be a tall challenge, though, against the likes of PSG. But into the ban phase, we are going to see the Kali Diana taken off the board. The Lee Sin's going to be taken away by Hurricane Gaming. I expect them to go ahead, ban away the Xin and the J4 as well. And then we'll see if Zeri comes off the board too.
Yeah, Zeri's been permabanned so far, but if the teams leave it up and available, we could see a shift up in our bot lane handshaking of, you know, the Jinx and the Aphelios that is just so consistently played right now. J4 banned away as predicted on the Hurricane side, so looking to hit Juhan's pool a little bit. I would like to see one of those carry junglers, because obviously the Lee Sin's off the board. He played it last time. It just, there wasn't anything special there, right? I mean, like, last game, we saw a Taco on the Lee Sin, and that was something. They banned the Xin Zhao themselves, by the way, which means they may not be prioing the jungle in this first pick.
It has to be the Zeri ban. PSG banning away the Xin here is just a force Hurricane to make that big decision. What will they go ahead take away?
Oh, they left it. Nautilus ban. Come on, PSG, you got to do this. Give me a unified Zeri game.
It's
yes!
not even a question. If you forget to ban Zeri, it should automatically 100% be locked in. This champion is just way too mobile for the role that she slots into. AD carry is not supposed to be that mobile, and yet she does a lot of damage on top of it. It will be a
what? Whoa. Okay, hold the phone right now. This just got interesting.
Okay, I have no idea. Honestly, if we see Twitch this early, it could signify perhaps a cheese pick, throw it into the jungle.
I see what you did there.
That's always possible, but with the Lulu, it's perhaps going to say that this is the bot lane we have set up to just delete Zeri, and there is one shot potential coming in from a champion like Twitch.
It could be a kill lane, but I am excited to see what the answer is here. You saw that hover. Juhan was holding on to the Viego. They actually will take the Yuumi to pair with Zeri right now, but I do think that Viego comes back in the next pick. There was a big old smile on Juhan's face when he was hovering it.
Viego could indeed be that next pick here, but Zeri...
Whoa! There they got the Gwen too! What? Like, so much damage! Oh my goodness!
It's doomed.
Look, nice start. This is like, okay, look, this game is either going to be over in like 15 minutes, or it's going to be the spiciest slugfest we've seen all day.
Yeah, and the big thing in here, so there's actually a lot of flex potential coming out from this draft if players have that ability to flex around, because this Lulu can still move into a couple of places. The Twitch technically can be thrown into the jungle if you really want to play cheese. And over on the flip side for PSG, the Gwen can still go into the hands of Juhan. You want a hyper carry for Juhan? If you're going to funnel him a lot of resources, like Bei's presence around the map, just toss it into Juhan. Gwen's a perfect way to do so in that regard. Going into the second ban phase, we have some soft counters or weak side top laners taken away by Hurricane Gaming, so they're not convinced either that Gwen is going into the top lane. They have sort of the same read as I do.
Yeah, I want to see how this answers, and they're going to try and add a little bit more frontline. We've been seeing a lot of these tank Renekton's going into the mid, and obviously, you know, that Jace should definitely be ICU's pick. We saw him on it yesterday. That was definitely one of the brighter spots of the Hurricane Gaming roster. So, looking at this, if they lock it through, and they do, it's an interesting composition so far, because you normally think about that Jace as like, you know, he can be a bit of like a poke champion, but the Twitch has a lot shorter range until the ultimate comes through. So what is your read on what Hurricane's trying to do overall?
I mean, throwing this Renekton allows you a lot of mid-game pressure because of how strong his ultimate is for some of those mid-game team fights, as we are also going to see the Viego. So still, you could technically put it into a solo lane, but more than likely it will be Gwen headed up there. And
this is so many power picks. I know you don't like the Rise, but he's a tank, I guess. I don't know.
I hate Rise, but it's okay
give us the
when
Vex,
you throw
please.
in a pick like Gwen that he's not the main magic damage source, because Tank Rise does no magic damage, guys. Like, either you build AP on him or you get another magic damage threat. And
whoa,
yes,
Echo Jungle. All right.
Hurricane Gaming have indeed given us enough curveballs to make this game interesting. And this is really exciting draft. But I will say, I don't like where the Twitch came in. I think first pick on red side was a little bit too early, showing their cards a little bit too early there. But the Echo pick could throw a spanner in the works, because Viego isn't as dominant of a jungler as he was before, which gives Echo the possibility of snowballing.
Yeah, there are just so many interesting champion choices on the Hurricane Gaming side that could really mix things up here. Again, on paper, PSG, the expectation is that they do crush this game, because Hurricane Gaming, you know, the old alpha esports, even with a lot of new blood, did not really show a whole lot to impress. But a few of the people that did, Bang 2 for sure, getting a chance on this Twitch, I'm excited to see. They clearly were aware of, or they clearly have prepared this to some extent as early as it was picked up to try and turn this into a kill lane against the Zera Yuumi. We'll see if it bears fruit. We'll see if it works out. But there is just so much damage on the side of PSG, and I'm excited to see who ends up dishing the most. Juhan trying to set him up for success in a carry jungle role. We'll see if he can do it. But if not, there are a lot of champions that can fill the gap. I do like to see the return of Hanabi's Gwen. It was a terror at Worlds 2021. We'll see if it can be a terror on the Rift today, as PSG look to bounce back from an early loss against Beyond Gaming, and Hurricane look to try and really throw that curveball right back at him.
Now, this is a combination I've been really calling for the entire time when Rise has been picked. Is like, if you go ahead, lock in Rise, please have a Gwen up into that top lane to make up for the lack of magic damage we're seeing in these Rise builds. And PSG, they have adapted, thrown that up in its top side. And overall, this is a very, very solid composition. They have more than enough damage to get Juhan those resets. So overall, very PSG favorite draft, but there's plenty of unknowns in this Hurricane Gaming draft.
Kaiwing's always having a bit of fun with it. I remember they used to spam that at Doggo, but unfortunately Doggo no longer in this league, as he has moved on to greener pastures over there in the LPL. But for Hurricane Gaming, I really want to keep my eyes on this bottom lane to see if Bangtu and how can get the kills. I mean, if anything, Unified Kaiwing did have some stumbles, not in lane, mind you, but in some of the team fights yesterday, and we'll see if that changes things here. Olio on this Echo. We'll see what he's able to get done, try and deal with the threat of Juhan. But as we get underway, no cheese, no crazy early level 1 strategies. It's just all stock standard.
All stock standard at the moment, which, you know, with how much kind of cheese came out in the Hurricane Gaming draft, I half expected them to try and cheese the level 1 as well to really get things going. Or at the very least, go for very aggressive summoners, but so far, you know, nothing too spicy. We have a heal on Twitch. I would have liked an exhaust ignite combination in this bottom lane. That didn't happen. And it's always going to be tough when you're up against the fact that there's going to be 3 combat summoners on the flip side, because there is that Yuumi pick.
Yeah, the Yuumi definitely not needing the flash quite as much as some of the other support champions. So, getting underway here, yeah, that bottom lane certainly could get spicy. I also want to keep my eye on the top as well. Olio on level 3 looks like he might actually be fancying a play onto Hanabi, who's taken a more defensive summoner in that Ghost, by the way, not the Ignite teleport that we've seen before. ICU doing a good job baiting as he goes to the skies. Here we go, parallel convergence into the Time Winder. Hanabi, he's ghosted on, but I think he's going to be first blooded here, and he is over to ICU. Juhan, he can't quite answer in time. This is a great start for Hurricane. He turns back
looking
in, goes for the 1v2. I don't know if that was the best decision. They do seem to be bringing Bay up here, but that's going to be it. Early first blood in this one.
Very, very early first blood here, and it's a really nicely executed play coming in from Hurricane. Being able to get an early kill onto this Gwen is going to help a lot. And one of the big calling cards for ICU in this top lane is just these carry top laners. And getting him off to a good start is going to help out considerably.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we saw a little bit from him yesterday. Same champion on the Jace. His shock blasts were certainly on point. It was just in the later stages of the game, we didn't get to see him shine as the team fell too far behind. Juhan will be coming up to make some, try and get some revenge here for Hanabi, who, again, is dueling it out. Nice ICU. He steps forward, does not have the flash. As a dash in, there they go, play the Rune King, and is it enough to snip? No! Not enough off the top of Jace's head, and ICU just barely limps away.
He limps away, but now he has to give up a lot on this top side, right? Because he doesn't have the teleport to come straight back. And the wave is starting to come towards Hanabi. I'm not sure if... yeah, it is coming towards Hanabi because he's going for the recall right now, knowing that the wave will naturally push towards him. So he's going to be able to get his reset, get all the way back to full HP, and come back to a lane state that is extremely favorable to him. So now we need to see Echo come pretty much immediately top lane to try and reset that lane state to bail out his top laner. That means the rest of the map gets a little bit of free time to kind of do what they want to do on the side of PSG.
Yeah, PSG going to be a little bit more comfortable with how things are shaking out at the moment. They are down in the gold game, mostly thanks to the first blood difference, but on the whole, you know, certainly have to feel happy for Unified and Kaiwing in this lane. Whatever Bang2 and Enhao are planning, it hasn't come up. You talked about how if they were really going for a kill lane, it's a little bit sus that they didn't go for the full combat summoners. But hey, we'll have to see if there's a strategy there. But unfortunately for them, they just kind of keep getting peppered with damage. Not just the burst fire and you know and all the zapping. It's also just those prowling projectiles. I mean, Yumi's such an annoying champion to deal with in lane. Here comes Juhan again as he goes for the hard path. ICU. He's playing the long game, though, trying to bait it out, but there was a ward spotting Olio there, so no 2v2s today.
Yeah, Juhan understands what his job is. He needs to maintain this freeze for Hanabi, and this is the fight.
Yes, it is. Looking for more. Hanabi.
He's immune.
He's immune. Not going to have to worry about too much as he goes right back into lane. This game really is like a who's who of, like, some of the newest, like, Swedish champions, right? Especially on the PSG side, you know? Like, last season, if we saw Gwen and Viego in the game, it was usually because one team got one and one team handshook the other. But definitely, the days have changed a little bit, Nightstar. Bay is going to be under fire, forced to flash very quickly. You can see they were setting up for a 3 dives. Enhao is there. But Bay turns it right around, actually dishing a lot of damage right back as he stays safe.
Yeah, nice little response coming in from Bay. Good trigger fingers there. And now it's going to be roaming Yuumi. So
bring your cat to work day. Meanwhile, though, they move in, and I don't think Olio expected that many people there as Unified is actually going to open up, get 1 kill on the Zeri, looking for more. Bay's in a little bit of trouble. Shot does not have enough to kill him. 2 kills for the Zeri, and now Enhao could be in some trouble as he gets stunned up, looking for 3. Unified won't get it because Juhan does, but they clean house on the PSG side.
It's just way too much roam pressure coming in from Azeri, who can join from infinite range, essentially, because of how she's able to traverse the whole length of the wall. And they try and set up for the pick. The idea is good, but there's just the numbers advantage is not there. It looks like it's just, you know, 2 or, you know, 3 members, if 2.5 if you don't count the cat as a full member. But Unified comes way over the wall there and instantly joins, and Twitch just doesn't have that same roam power here. If you are the Twitch as well, like in that instance, I would have expected the Twitch to try and make a hit over into that mid lane very early on. He hasn't done that, and now things are falling away very quickly for the side of Hurricane game.
Yeah, this is why Zeri gets banned so much, right? Like, if you look in the dictionary, the definition of power creep, you just see a picture of Zeri like doing finger guns. Like, this champion is so fast and does so much damage, it's ridiculous. Unified in his hands, it's looking really terrifying. And as a result, PSG, you know, they're just opening up on the map. Bang 2 has honestly had zero presence at all of this roaming, and Unified still up. Like, so much gold, and look at this 2v2!
Bye.
Unified just deletes Enhao.
So long.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the power of this combination. It's just so much kill pressure, and a lot of it was facilitated by an early cheater recall coming in from this bottom lane. Unified, Kaiwing getting the reset, coming back with Cull Longsword is just a lot of power sustain against Bang 2, who stayed to try and farm up as much as possible. He was just stuck on a longsword the entire time. Now he's got a bit of a buy, but afterwards he's already 25 CS down and 3 kills down, and Cha-Cha is also down a lot of health.
Yeah, you know, we were prepping for this one and really just... Oh, wow, okay, Olio, he goes in like 1v3. I mean, he's got Chrono Break, like, he's Echo, I get it, but dude, you were never going to win that fight. Unified going over the wall once again. Olio trying to get away. They've got the Prowling Projectile. They're going to keep on chasing. He's out. I think after yesterday's game, you know, there was probably some concern against, you know, parts of the PSG fan base, like, uh-oh, they're having a little trouble adapting. You know, maybe if they smash tomorrow, I won't be quite so worried. They are absolutely crushing this game. So, if you are a PSG fan, do not worry. All is not lost. They may not be the team they once were, but they are definitely finding their footing, and this is looking easy at the moment.
Everything's easy when you have Zeri.
Yeah, true.
This champ is just not balanced. But apparently, Hurricane Gaming, they really trusted this Twitch counter pick. Unfortunately, it just has not panned out, even remotely. There's just multiple ways you'd like to...
Oh my god, they go... Oh, whoa! You know something's gone wrong when your AD carry...
ICU's pinging his jungler right now.
Yeah.
He is
Save my lane! Save my lane, Olio! Oh dear. Because, this is free tower. This is... Yeah. They have Rift.
Olio, he queued up the recall and finished the recall, and ICU is just like, wait, hello? And now he's gonna lose his tower. That's a lot of extra gold going into the hands of the Viego and the Zeri, namely the Zeri. It actually doesn't finish the tower, which is nice, but
all right.
It's not gonna live for long.
It's all the plates, though. I mean, yeah, like I think they probably could have stayed, but they played it safe, and, you know, again, PSG, they have such a massive lead at 11 minutes into the game. There's no need to take a risk, right?
Yeah.
You can only fall behind.
Exactly. And look at some of these items, too. There's just a lot more... Okay, we don't get to see the items because we're expecting a fight here, and they're really trying.
Okay, final chapter coming through. They do manage to land the root down onto at least Enhao, but meanwhile, turning it right around, Bang 2 just gets deleted into the Heartbreaker, and now Juhan on the chase, and he's turning the Twitch against Hurricane Gaming. Meanwhile, as they try to run for the hills, Enhao can't quite make it out. Only Olio will be able to tell the tale of the disaster top lane.
My lord. 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, meanwhile, Bay's just
plates haven't come off yet, Pyra.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, there's no plates up top. Let's look at this again. Yeah, Hurricane wanted this fight.
They really wanted
this fight, but they should not have.
Yeah. I mean, they wanted Zeri, but... Shocker, Zeri is very mobile and can instantly turn things around, especially when she has ult and has such a large item advantage. She has a Trinity Force, so what do we have on Bang 2? He's got... I don't know.
Bargain bin.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about this game, Matt Star?
What?
The fact that Hanabi got Gwen, and we have not talked about it once, because it is the least impactful thing in this game right now.
That is true. And when it comes to these later game team fights, because of how far this Twitch is behind, like, Gwen is immune is more than enough to just win team fights 1v1. It's so easy because of how far Bang 2 is.
I don't think they're going to need him. I mean, like this is... Like, okay, so spoiler alert for those of you who've never watched Lord of the Rings, but you really should because it's been out for ages. You know that scene at the end of like the fight in Minas Tirith when Aragorn like has all the ghosts and they're all just prowling around. His Hanabi is immune, but he's dead, so not anymore. I'll talk about that in a minute because Juhan is going to try to 1v2 for a little bit. He might be able to do it. He flashes away. Okay, I have to finish this point. It's important. It's that scene. Hanabi is Aragorn. And he's just looking around, looking for some orcs to kill. But there's no orcs to kill, because all the ghosts did it already. All the ghosts is the rest of PSG. And here they go again. Unified, they're finding the final chapter onto Enhao, and it certainly is closing the book on Hurricane Gaming. ICU tries to find something on a collapse with Cha-Cha, but absolutely nothing's doing. Going to the skies, but how about going to the fountain? Unified is going to finish this dive off, and if not him, Juhan is going hunting. Goodbye.
Kaiwing! Cat got it.
He stole it. It happens.
Classic Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, regardless.
PSG fans will be happy with this game. I'm going to predict it right now.
And Alpha fans are going to be wondering, why didn't we ban Zerg?
Yeah, Bane 2 is going to try to hunt down Bane. I mean, this...
He doesn't have an item!
I wish we'd been able to see what the game plan was for this Twitch, because whatever it was, it clearly didn't pan out. Here's that again. This isn't even really a fight. This is... Honestly, this is graphic content. Shield your eyes if you're under 18.
It's Yordle abuse.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
as a certified TFT Yordle abuser, I do not approve of that particular variety. Unified could be in a bit of trouble, though. He does get shut down as...
a little bit far.
That 3v3 was a little bit scuffed there from PSG.
Now they can turn.
So maybe we spoke a little too fast, but now they get the exhaust onto ICU. Once again, should find the damage. Meanwhile, Cha-Cha did not have enough left in the bank, as Juhan is going to go into his Croc form here. 1, 2... How do you do? Looking for a to the skies on the hammer. Finds another one. Double kill here. And that is going to be Operation Fed Viego.
And Bay's there to clean up the last kill, too. Well, the results as expected at 15 minutes when you have an 8k gold lead. But that's exactly what happened. PSG, another dominating play, even though Unified does give up a rather large bounty here. So we're going to see the replay. Hopefully we get to see who gets that kill at the end as well, because that's a large amount of gold to fall into someone's hands. I hope it went into Jace's hands.
I feel like this is a little bit of happy gaming on the side of PSG. Like, they're buying into their own hype a little bit too much, but it was okay. They're so far ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you'd like to see a big play to get the fans excited as well, right? Because game number 1 was not great from them, so this is going to help out considerably for the fan base. And the shutdown goal does go on to the Echo, which I would say is the next best thing. If it doesn't go on to the Jace. And I mean, ideally, you'd love to get some gold onto the Twitch, but the Twitch was never there, so hard to do that. So Echo now has a little bit of gold to play with, and that's a Yumi Q. Yumi Q isn't supposed to do that much damage, but now they're just going to try and YOLO one more play.
And that's the Echo that just got all the all the kills, rather. Hurricane are going to try to make a play here, but look at how low Cha-Cha is already getting in this one as the Rift Herald charges in. They no longer have the tower to protect them. Juhan and Hanabi gonna be able to open up, not to mention all the burst fire out of Unified, and those health bars on Hurricane Gaming are getting rocked. That should be the closer here. Ace at 17 minutes. I'd say they should go for Baron, but it's not even on the Rift yet.
What do you even do, man? There's like...
Go next.
I mean,
fast.
you can hit towers if you're PSG, but there's literally nothing on the map to do besides kill Hurricane Gaming over and over again. That's literally the only objective, because Dragon is now about to spawn, but there's no Baron to play around. You're not baiting for that. There's no jungle to try and steal because you've already stolen all of that. So PSG, I mean, it's kind of just a waiting game for Hurricane, and just allow Hurricane Gaming to kind of just impale themselves on their own sword.
Yeah, like, you see that they're trying to force the play. It's just, there just isn't enough damage there. ICU on the side, he does like get a little bit of burst on a Unified. There's no follow-up, of course.
Though. Yeah.
Because, yeah, everyone's getting locked up. And, of course, you know, oh, you think you have the safety of the tower? Nah, we're just going to finish that really quick. And all of a sudden, Olio's just running back to the wrong base, wondering what the hell happened.
Yeah. It's tough prospect. But
they
hey,
cut
Q is
Bay.
Nice.
Hey, they cut Bay. That's shutdown gold, right?
One.
It's going to be turned around immediately, but we'll see if they can get anything else here as Cha-Cha gets rooted down for all of eternity. Double kill into the triple for the Viego. Juhan is big.
They just put Hurricane Gaming back into the bin once more, but I mean, we're still kind of just watching this game in a standstill just because of the fact there's nothing to get done afterwards.
It's too early to end the game. That's the only reason it happens.
Exactly. So this is essentially, I don't know how to describe it. It's like,
yeah,
an MMA fight, but one of the fighters has never fought before. So
yeah, I get where you're going with this. You know, like, I almost feel like if you're Juhan, you don't want to execute because your items are so much better than whoever you kill.
Yeah, you're really just getting the soul just so you can get another jump. That's really all it is at this point because the items are just so far behind when it comes to Hurricane Gaming that you really just want to maintain your own stats. If you are the Viego, we're going to see ICU sent to the ICU.
Yeah, unfortunately, time of death right about then. Juhan managing to clean him up pretty easily. So, you know, I think we got to start wondering, like, when PSG have enough of a decisive fight to just, like, close it out. I feel like they just grab the Baron and start hard shoving. But yeah, at least Hurricane are trying to fight. Like, I mean, there are teams who would just straight up give up at this point and just, like,
but not Alpha.
But yeah, no, I mean, flip. You got to give them that. They will always go for the flip.
They maintain the identity.
It like so you're saying there's a chance is kind of a bit of a team motto here, and I obviously this was always going to be a tough game, but I would have liked to see maybe a little bit better focus on getting rid of some of these really strong champions that are absolutely decimating your front line. Goodbye, Olio. Juhan with the legendary kill at 20 minutes as they realm warp their way in, forcing the flash at Enhao. Bay and Juhan take a little bit of damage as Cha-Cha was looking for some more. Unified lets loose the ultimate. They turn around here as Bay starts firing down more, and ICU just off the cooldown goes straight back to Fountain with the needlework. That should be it. Can they close this out in time? I believe it would be the fastest game of the split.
I don't think there's any doubt that this would be the fastest game of the split if the game just ends right here because it's almost 20 minutes. It's just past that.
That's gonna be it.
This game was never in question. Fire.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But Hurricane, you know, they have a lot of questions that need answering. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but for PSG, they've definitely come up with some answers. This game may not be indicative of how things play out for the most part going forward, but when they get the power picks, oh boy, watch out because PSG are back.
There was a PCS fantasy game. Oh yeah, PSG just raked in an infinite amount of points on that game because that was a wholehearted raffle stomp. Hurricane Gaming living up to the name as far as playstyle goes because it was very hectic from draft to the end of the game, but unfortunately, PSG were never shaken.
No, they were not. PSG had a game plan in mind. They had the opportunity to pick up just about every power pick champion. The Zarya for Unified, the Viego. We did get to see carry Juhan, and I really like this. You know, obviously he had a fairly easy time, and he was able to pop up just by virtue of how well they snowballed. But it was nice to see him on a damage dealer. The Lee Sin, we didn't really get to see much. Bay was still on the rise, but critically, he didn't really need to do all that much except hold the mid lane. And he outclassed Cha-Cha solo 1v1. So, like, credit where it's due. You know, this team definitely picked up some players that have a good skill floor at the very least. It's just, against the tougher opponents, we still need to see them tested again because the Beyond game wasn't as hopeful as we would have liked. But this time around, yeah, we got to see Juhan carry a little bit on the Viego. We got to see Unified unleashed on the Zeri. I did like Kaiwing's Yumi. It was definitely a lot of fun, unless you were the bot lane of Hurricane, of course. And for Hurricane, I think they may have tried to overdraft themselves into a corner, I think.
Hurricane Gaming, what will we do? I mean, they're pretty much an instinctual team, at least from last split, and it looks like that for the most part, that identity has remained the same. For PSG, still, we didn't have any questions answered, really, because it is Hurricane Gaming. But at the very least, it does give the fan base a big hit of hopium.
It's only game 2, but you're right. After losing the first one, it always feels a little rough, especially when you're used to such dominance, right? I mean, PSG had a domestic dominant streak that was unmatched by any other team, and the only squad that had really challenged them last year was Megabank Beyond Gaming. Of course, coming in and beating them in the last game yesterday certainly had to deflate a little bit of that hopium, but now it's back. We'll see how this team does when tested against some of the stronger squads. I'm looking at the likes of J-Team. I'm looking at the likes of CTBC Flying Oyster, potentially even some of the Dark Horse squads like Meta Falcon team. But
Deep
you're right,
Cross.
Hurricane, Deep Cross as well. Hurricane is certainly a squad that's probably going to be fighting to just not be 10th place until further notice. That was Alpha Esports as well. Yeah, you know, it was an interesting draft phase for sure, but unfortunately it was an interesting game for them. And we'll see if they can go back to the drawing board and find a little bit more for themselves. But PSG, you know, you got the win, you had some fun. It was a much better day 2 to bounce back in, even if you knew your opponent was going to be a punching bag.
Yep. So, I mean, PSG, they take care of business. And Hurricane Gaming, we'll see.
Plenty of time to whip
really
up
the
into the storm we know they can be, right? I mean, it is very early on in the split. I still think that, you know, we didn't get to see Bang 2 this time around. ICU still had a decent start to the game. We saw some good Jace play. I do feel like he still got a little bit of that, like, tunnel vision, solo carry, solo Q mentality. Like, it seemed a little too easy to bait him. But if he can fix that, that might be a key to really holding the line, because he's certainly very skilled on these champions that can dish out the damage. The Jace was a power pick for a reason. I just wonder if they can leverage that on this squad rather than just, cool, play your comfort pick and we'll see what happens, right? It's a bit of a rough time to be a top laner overall, but you know, we did see some roams in game 1. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of that going forward for Hurricane if they can get a slower game to build up into it. You know, I think when it comes down to it, the testing bed is going to be them versus Impunity. Although Impunity at the moment did look like a better squad.
I certainly think Impunity has a little bit more to show. Of course, we haven't seen Sem9 yet.
That's true.
They're a squad with a lot of unproven players as well, so we need to see them on the Rift before we can toss judgment there. But at least it's a longer split than we had last split. Yes, it's the same amount of games, but it's spread over a longer course of time, which will allow some of these teams to hopefully figure things out and bounce back to try and make a playoff run.
Absolutely. So, circling it back to PSG, as we are still kind of waiting for our... oh, well, there we go. Waiting for the gold graphic. You know, I think it took a little while because it was just so much gold to tabulate that they had to just keep stacking it on top, you know? This game ended so quick. This is our fastest one, 21:30 in the game. Juhan is probably getting the MVP unless it's unified. I kind of feel like you could go either way. It did look a little bit easy for him. But it was nice to see that when given all of the tools, they did execute flawlessly, right? Like, if this game had been anything but a stomp, it's a bit worrying for the likes of PSG, and they did exactly what they needed to do. They you know, an easy pop quiz, but they aced it.
Yeah, it was certainly a pop quiz that they aced very, very easily. Unified will be given the MVP. 6,600 gold above his
Holy
opposing
crap.
member. I mean, Bang 2 never really got to say anything.
That's multiple items ahead. Yeah, I mean, what do you expect given Zeri? But at the same time, like, there were so many power picks given over That's the biggest thing for Hurricane, is to just work on that draft.
Yeah, they do need to go back to the drawing board in that regard. Pretty hard there, because it felt like even before going into the game, they were already up against such a tall hill to climb. And
yeah, that hill was called Fedzeri. Unified.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked what I saw out of him. I mean, again, it was easy, but like, a good way to bounce back is to just have a super dominant performance. It helps not only for the fan base, it helps for your own confidence to really try and roll that one forward. But with that game done and dusted, we have one more on the day. I'm very excited about this one because it will be Meta Falcon Team, the collegiate squad. And they've got themselves a midterm exam here, Nightstar. It's going to be a tough task against Beyond Gaming. I wonder if they're going to be able to do it. We're going to have to find out right after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll return.